voting?
Sure. I'll direct to my new best friend.
Right.
Yes, I guess that's me. So let's look at what the current numbers are sitting at. Last we checked, which was yesterday, we had about, I want to say 40 people that had registered to vote so far. Okay, it looks like we've gotten up a little bit higher from where we were, about 11 more since yesterday when we started putting out that tweet text. So we're sitting at right around 45 people, it looks like, not counting the candidates that are in there and registered. So
Okay.
We are, as far as we know from membership, at about 800 paid members, though. So it's still kind of woefully small participation, but we also weren't expecting huge things with this being a test vote. And but if we could get over 100, that would be nice. So we got today and tomorrow to kind of keep pushing that, beating on the drum for getting registered. So hopefully we can get people across the finish line.
Now, sorry, go ahead.
One question on that. All the candidates, have they been a full member? The payments all came through. Great.
Yeah, we're down to only 8 candidates who were actually members because we gave them time, waited, and they just weren't responding at all. You know, some of the people that were not members that had put their names in the hat weren't responding to emails. So we just went ahead and removed them altogether. So there will be no, oh, I voted for that guy, and oops, sorry, they're not a member. Like, we just didn't put them on the ballot at all. So.
Yeah, I have the documentation to back it up. I have LinkedIn chats. I have emails. I have emails out of the open source office inbox. So there was sufficiently at least 3 attempts to contact each person with their provided contact information, and then additional attempts to contact them outside of that as well. So if it comes down to it from a transparency perspective, anybody has questions that way, I can absolutely provide the documentation. Aside from the voting details, I don't think that we have much that we plan on presenting, other than a quick snapshot that says, hey, these were the number of votes that we collected. The votes ran this way, and that's how the voting was decided. You know, but other than that, nothing further to be shared unless it's specifically requested for good reason.
Yeah. On the same topic, with the candidates, the introduction of the candidates, maybe you can give a sort of update on that as well.
I can. So Robin is actually here. He's one of the candidates. He's popping in. He mentioned to myself that regardless of whether or not the community selects him, he'd like to kind of be an observer or figure out what's going on with open source committee. So I welcome him to be here. The candidate intros, I would say it went pretty well. There is a video that's up on YouTube. I did get some initial feedback that said that it appears rather rough. I'm not necessarily attributing that one way or another because I did not set a specific format for it. So basically, without asserting anything towards anyone, it was, you're a candidate. I've set up an intro session for you with the community. They can come and ask you questions. So whatever those candidates provide as far as their introduction, that falls on them. I did have some internal help, so we were able to kind of keep the conversation going a little bit. And where we really had a delay, I guess, was just having proper announcements to get the community into that conversation. But once we started getting some people in, the conversation did flow, and I anticipate there's actually going to be 2 more sessions. I anticipate those will go rather well. One of them I did step back about 8 or 10 hours later in the day, so that it can hopefully catch more. Maybe it was 7 or 8 hours. So you have to check me on that. But hopefully it can catch a little bit more of the community being at a different time.
So let's plan for today, Tex, to do a post reminding people that they can register to vote, and maybe share that video.
That is a great question.
So that we have some multimedia there, because generally speaking, posts on social media will perform better if they have a graphic or something. Like it just works. So even if it's a picture like that, just make sure that's always attached to everything.
Yeah. So I just recently got this graphic approved, minus this "we are seeking volunteers," because that was part of the recruitment. So I'm getting the edited copy of that now, and I'm going to be pushing for us to get an email to go out. But other than that, we'll have these remaining posts here. Reminder to register. That goes out today on Discord, LinkedIn, and an abbreviated version on Twitter. And then we have another version that goes out tomorrow, last call. Now the registration, Adam, I guess this is important for you. We're having it run until midnight UTC, which is 6 p.m. Central, or 5 or 4 for you.
Midnight UTC is 5.
5. Okay. Yeah. So basically, that's when I would ask that you shut it off and turn it on for registration and voting. And then we'll do the same thing. We'll let voting run until that same time.
Next Friday.
Yep. Next Friday. Yeah, but you'll be back by then. We'll be back by then. So
we won't have left by then.
We won't even have left. Wow, look at that. I'm forgetful. Every month is crazy. Anyway, yeah. So that actually worked out rather well. Midnight UTC is as deadlines here. So 2 and 3 is reminder today, and then last call tomorrow. And then Monday is a midway check-in, and then again a reminder on the last day to vote. But I'll have some other comms, just minor bits and pieces from this that go out accordingly. So this is like the internal document, what's been approved, and we'll cannot share the link to this one. I'm so sorry. You can share my social posts, but I can't share a link to this document. This is internally generated there, so some limitations.
Whatever has the information that I need for that.
Okay.
That's good. On the next topic, at the last action points, I saw a briefing from the commercialization working group to be the action point. Do you have any updates from that?
The commercialization, that's something that we've pushed forward to, that's going to be once we get our new members onboarded. So that was pushed out about a month or so, pretty much into October, before we have a final decision on that. And then we're also trying to get somebody from the commercialization working group into the meeting to talk about it.
Sounds good. Then I think we're mostly done with the main agenda points. Other than that, open forum.
Yeah, I would just mention on the ClickUp agenda there, I'd added in the Oracle's working group. When they met last week, they managed to have not what I would call quorum, but participation nonetheless. And so they wanted to pick up on their repository that we created for them, and they started taking some action so they can basically start listing the different DEXs that are out there in the ecosystem. And so there's supposedly some traction moving forward from that, but I don't have any more significant update other than they had a meeting and there was some participation. But if participation falls off again, that's going to be a conversation, a larger conversation. So we'll probably have that in the agenda set meeting. So
on the participation side, I recently found out Hydra has a nice participation rule. If you are not participating like 3 times, then you cannot participate or something. That I found it pretty interesting. Might not be applicable for us, but for participation and the working group, it might be good to have some commitment from the members on that aspect. Something to point to.
Yeah, I think that's good. I would suggest that feedback go through MCC and the group design working group, My understanding is that they are the ones that have a little bit more of the say, both or from the community approach as to how any changes might be made, because currently the working groups are not restricted to that level. The working groups as it stands are just governed by the committee. So if the committee finds an issue, or if we as the open source committee want to adopt that, just know that it would not be part of the standard working group clause unless it was provided through that process or through that group. Again, I would say we could put that as a future item for us to discuss if we want to implement that as part of how we manage our working groups. But if you think that that would be beneficial for all working groups, which I would probably agree with, I would send it to the group design working group so that they can look at how to modify that process, modify that management.
Yeah, sounds good. Any other questions? Any points?
Yeah, I have a question related to the candidates. Is there a certain profile being addressed for eventual members of this group?
Yes, it's on our Gitbook page.
But was that also communicated basically in the request?
In which request, I'm sorry?
In the request for volunteers.
So we had the nomination form, if you remember.
Yeah.
Just a second.
Yeah, it was based on the information that the candidates themselves provided.
Okay.
They provided a name, an email that we did ask to match the membership email. They asked about experience in open source and open source projects. We left these open. Now it does say long answer text. My understanding is that that long answer text also extends to the user view. So they have freedom. It's not like it was a short answer. We didn't say, hey, give us 2 sentences on this, or give us 2 bullet points. It was designed to write a paragraph. Hey, what have you done? I will admit this was not maybe as crystal clear as it could have been. And I take that as feedback for the next go around. But I also look at this from the perspective of those in the community, and I'm okay to be corrected, but I would have the general understanding that typically those that have those type of open source contributions are normally willing to, brag about themselves at least a little bit. The other thing that we have with this here is when I put all this information together on the nominee page, I also included LinkedIn, their LinkedIn profiles. So that was something that was not on the request form, but I went back through and I found all of them. Thankfully, I found all of them. So I put that on here as well. Wasn't able to get pictures here, so you'd go to LinkedIn and see who that person is. That was for some reason important to you. But it's a very consistent setup, and we can kind of see where some provided just a little bit and some provided more so information.
Great, thank you.
Other questions on the voting or the nominees or? I am going to jump on board with the internal teams and figure out what's going on for the general election process. The only reason I have not dug into that is because I've been focusing on trying to get us proper marketing and comms for our pre-vote. So I apologize that I haven't picked up an additional workflow quite yet, but I will, between now and the next meeting, get a better understanding of what that form is going to look like. So.
Sounds good.
And actually, I'll try to provide the, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, actually, I'll try to provide, if I can, some more information on that async between today and tomorrow, because the nominations actually go live on Monday. So.
Do we know when the next nomination process is going to start?
Monday.
Yeah, the nomination for everybody else for the October general election begins Monday, and I think it runs
So the
what, for
27th?
week. Yeah.
Or yeah, something like that.
Just quickly using the opportunity to say hi in this quick pause here. I'm running out of time. I just wanted to jump in quickly and yeah, say hello. And but I also need to leave already because I need to pick up my kids right now. So I'm happy to see you all and wish you a great weekend.
Great.
Thank you.
Ciao.
Bye.
And if we don't have any more points, maybe we can also wrap up early today. Thanks, Adam.
I figured
Yeah,
it would be. Oh, go ahead.
Given that we don't have a quorum because there's only 3 of us that are sitting members, we can't really take any hard action either way. So yeah, I'd say we wrap for today, and then hopefully after in 2 weeks we have some new blood in here, and so we can actually get the OSC active and rolling again. So.
Yep.
Looks good.
Although I don't have that voting or decision-making power, I would also say I agree, with the only exception being if Sam has any constructive feedback, because usually he's got some pretty valuable things to add. But no requirement.
I don't have anything today. I'm just listening.
Appreciate you,
Thank
sir.
you for being here.
Adam, since I have you here, I know you're coming to the Open Source Summit event in Vienna, right? So would you be open to sitting on a panel with Nicholas, Terence, and moderated by me in the meetup event?
Yeah, Tex let me know about it last night. So yeah, I'm down to participate however I can.
All right, great. I'm gonna send out a tweet in a minute here and put it on Discord. And you guys have a look and like if you want. And that's it for me.
Great. Then I think we can wrap up. Thank you very much for everybody being here, and see you next week.